Today's topic is grafting apple trees. Now, I have scions that I got from Larry Stevenson. He is on Facebook. He is in the South, but he does have a lot of scions that are from the Appalachian Mountains, and so that's what he sent me. So I am doing some grafting today, plus I am doing a grafting class in May for some master gardeners and other people. And these are some of my tools that I'm taking to that class. Now, I have done a grafting video before when I just used a knife and I did the tongue and groove, but I thought I'd show you some of the tools that I have that will make it so that you can graft very easily. And they're all a matter of different shapes, either rounded or very sharp and triangularly, so that the two pieces will fit together. And this one is if you had a tree that, maybe it got broke in the storm and you're going to bench graft on top. A lot of times I'll use this green once it's outside, and I'll put the name of the tree on there because it doesn't fade in the sun, and I just twist it around the trunk. Now, these are the different films that you can use. They're different sizes, different colors. I'm going to show you some clear that I'm going to use. And then these are some bands that I wrap around after I use the clear film, just because I don't want any air to get into that graft. And so here are some of my rootstock. And these are 3/16 EMLA 111. And some damp sawdust. I don't want it wet and soggy. I just want it damp, because once I get the rootstock and the scions together, I do need to let them callus over for about 3 weeks to a month. Now, here's some of the scions, and Larry's very nice to tape on what kinds they are for me. And the first thing I'm going to do, because they are about 6 to 8 inches long, depending on the scion, I'm going to cut them in half, so that some of it I'm going to use for my class, some of it I am going to use in my grafting today. Now, one of the things that I do is, especially the ones that I'm saving for my class, I'm going to put beeswax on the ends of both of them. If I'm going to use it today, I only have the beeswax on the top. Nice thing about beeswax, it will let any buds that it may cover go right through. And so I'm just rubber banding those. Those are going to go to my class. It has the name of the apple on there. So I'm going to use my big tool today. I do like it because it makes a very sharp V. And drop that. And you can see how it made that V shape. Sorry, it's a little out of focus. It wants to focus on those rootstock below it. But you can see that V shape. And I went in from the left side. So that means when I do my scion, because this is a rootstock, it has the root on it, I have to go from the opposite direction, because I want to make it so that the two shapes fit together. And so I'm going to go in from the right side on my scion. So let's grab a scion. And this one already has tape around it. Usually when I'm doing it, I'll tape it afterwards. So I just have to line it up. I want it completely even so that when I squeeze it, see how it cuts it? And then I have the other part of the V to make it go together. Let me throw those down. And it will just fit right into itself. And the idea is that you want to match the cambium layers. Let's pull that apart again. See that green layer right there? Sorry for it being out of focus. Those go together, and that's what binds the rootstock with the scion. And so then I'm going to take some of that clear film, and I'm going to wrap it. And as I am twisting around, I'm actually stretching it, because I want it to be a really good seal. And I usually go up and then down and then back up again. And I'm just tightening it, making it very, very tight so that no air is getting in there. Then the next thing I'm just going to grab one of those rubber bands. I'm not really sure what you call them. I call them giant rubber bands. And I'm stretching as I'm pulling it around so that it holds the clear film exactly in place and holds the rootstock to the scion without any air getting in it. Now, let's do it again. See how that V just fits together. That's what you want to do. Now, if your rootstock was larger than your scion, you're going to go to just one side because you want to make sure as much cambium can match up. That's your goal, because that's what makes a good graft. And see how I'm just stretching that and pulling that clear film? And there's a lot of different techniques that people use. This I've just found works so well. And when I'm grafting 85 today, it makes it very fast for me. This scion is called Horse. It's a funny name. I like a lot of old varieties that I can't get in a nursery or a box store. And so I just really appreciate all these ones that Larry sent me for my class and for me to graft. And then I just wrap that around my finger, pull it through to make a little knot. And then it goes into the sawdust. And remember, you want that sawdust damp, but not soaking wet. And you can see the beeswax on the top of each one, unless it has an actual bud, then I usually leave it. But otherwise, I want to do a couple coats of beeswax on there so that it just really holds it. So I am just going to do one more that I'm just really stretching. I want to show you how much that film will stretch. And that gives you a good seal, because your graft will fail if there's a lot of air, or if once you set it outside, the wind, birds try to move and that scion on top moves from the rootstock. So you want to make sure that you have a really secure hold on it. And it just will stretch and stretch and stretch. And it very much seals it onto itself. Now right there, I could just put beeswax over top of it. Here's another one of those rubber bands. I cut it down the lengthwise so they go a little bit farther that way. And I'm just stretching, pulling it around until I get it very secure. Now, one of the things that you need to do is put them either, like I'm going to put them in a bathtub that we don't use. You could put them in your basement, in an unheated garage, someplace that it's protected, but you want time for that seal to kind of callus over. And you always want to make sure that you're saying what type of apple tree you're doing. Now, all of these apple trees either get planted in the ground or I will sell them. And in Wyoming, when something says it's a semi-standard, that it could get to 18 feet tall, more than likely it's only going to get 15 feet tall here in Wyoming just because of our weather. But see, here's 85 of them in a bathtub, and they're just going to sit for about 3 weeks before I move them into pots outside.